and I'm going to take this session today 3/4 out of Pilates. So if you've not done any Pilates before, I'm sorry, I don't know who's online, but if you've not done any Pilates before, just listen to your bodies, rest anytime you need to. Any injuries at all, make sure you stay safe. I can't see you, so you're doing this class at your own risk, so just make sure you just look after yourselves, really. So challenge yourselves maybe a little bit. If you've been doing it for a few weeks with me, maybe build up a little bit to the higher levels if you feel you're up to it today. Setting ourselves up. So first of all, standing in a really neutral Pilates setup. So with your heels underneath the bony parts of your hips. Lift the chest, lift the top of the head up towards the ceiling. Just feel the front of the chest wide and open. The front of the shoulders are open as well. So pull your shoulders away from your ears, arms down by your sides. And just making sure that you're in a really neutral pelvis position. So try not to allow the tailbone to tuck under or tip up. Just find that gentle position in between. So you're fairly neutral there. And engage your core. So just draw that lower abdominals in as if you're trying to draw your navel in towards your spine. Just a gentle connection whilst you're warming up. So just to a level that you can maintain throughout the class. Just take a shoulder roll there. Just bring your shoulders forwards up by your ears and then just slide your shoulder blades back and down. And then as you breathe in, just float your arms up towards the ceiling, shoulder distance apart. And as you breathe out, just allow your arms to float down by your sides. Breathing in, reach your arms wide to the sides, reach through your fingertips. Breathing out, allow your arms to come back down again. Breathing in, breathing through your nose. Breathe wide and deep into the sides and the back of the rib cage. As you breathe out, arms circle wide to the side and bring them down. Other way, breathing in, arms wide to the side, up overhead. And then shoulder distance apart, your arms slowly release down by your sides. Let's add in a heel rise. So lift your heels off the floor as you float your arms up towards the ceiling. And lower your arms as your heels come down. Reach your arms wide to the sides as the heels lift off the floor. And lower the heels as your arms come down. Let's lift the heels, float the arms, still breathing in on that rise, lifting up nice and tall. Now right up onto the balls of your feet if you can, and then arms circle wide to the side as you lower your heels. Go the other way with the arms. Big in breath, arms wide to the side, overhead shoulder distance, heels down. As your arms come by your sides, breathe in. As you breathe out, can you sit back and do a gentle squat? You don't need to go too deep. Reach your arms forward. Press into your heels, straighten your legs. And then go into a squat, reach the arms wide to the sides again. So your sit bones are going back and down, keeping your spine and your neck really long. Press into your heels, squeeze your glutes as you come out of that squat. Can you reach your arms up in line with your ears as you sit back now? Don't worry if you can't lift your arms that high. And then circle wide to the sides as you straighten your legs and bring your arms down. Go the other way with the arms. Squatting, sit back and down. Hinge from hips, just bend the knees, reach your arms up towards the ceiling, and then shoulder distance apart. Your arms are going to come down by your sides. Just bring your heels together. So a little bit of a different stance today. So our Pilates V-Star. So your heels together, then your toes are in a narrow V shape. So you've got that V shape in between your feet there. So from there, shoulders back and down. Breathe in as you breathe. Just bend the knees. Your knees need to go wide over your second toe. So your knees are opening, your heels stay together. Try and keep your shoulders over your hips. And then straight legs. Squeeze your inner thighs into your glutes as you stand nice and tall. Take the knees wide. So that little knee bend. Push your knees wide to the side. Just reach your arms wide side, reaching through your fingertips. So feel that in your calf muscles. And then press into your feet, straighten your legs. Keeping the spine nice and long, can you float your arms up in line with your ears as you bend your knees? And then press into your feet, squeeze your glutes and your inner thighs. Circle your arms wide to the side. One more last time, let the arms circle wide to the side, up towards the ceiling. And then straighten the legs, bring your arms down. Can you just come into a balance? Lift the heels off the floor, toes are still wide, just reach your arms forward. And then lower them back down as your heels go down. Inner thighs engage, heels off the floor. Reach wide to the side. And come down. Let's do a big lift with the arms. Squeeze your glutes, squeeze your inner thighs. Heels together, doesn't matter if they come apart a little bit. Can you keep your heels lifted off the floor, arms wide to the side, arms down, and then lower your heels. A nice big in-breath. Lift your heels off the floor, arms wide to the side, overhead shoulder distance, and then lower your heels and lower your arms down by your sides. One more last stance. So different stances today for our squats, and we're just going to squat here. If it's not for you, just walk your feet in again so your heels are underneath your hips. If you can, heels turned in, toes turned out. So your feet are at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock. Again, try and keep your shoulders over your hips. Keep that length in your spine and the length in your neck as well. So breathe in. As you breathe out, bend your knees. Make sure your knees go wide over your second toe. So you're just dropping your tailbone down towards the floor, in between your heels. Press into your feet, squeeze your glutes, straighten your legs, bring your arms down. And let's reach your arms wide to the side. Keep pushing your knees wide to the side. Watch your knees here, be careful. No pain in the knees at all, otherwise change your stance to that parallel stance if you need to. Let's squat down if you can. Reach your arms up towards the ceiling, tail is in between your heels. Press into your feet, squeeze your glutes, arms circle wide and round down by your sides. One more last time, push the knees wide, arms reach wide, up overhead. Maybe you might be able to sink down a little bit deeper, don't worry. If you can't, push into your feet, arms down and straighten your legs. Just reach your arms wide to the sides. Breathe in as you breathe out. Just take a little bend over. Left arm reaches towards the floor, right arm up and over. So just get that lovely stretch all the way down your side. Breathing in, reach your arms wide to the side again. And breathing out, right arm goes down as your left arm goes up and over. Arms wide to the side again. Just do one more each way. Remember, always change your stance. You always bring your legs to parallel if it's not for you with your legs staying in this wide stance. Just really pressing even into both of your feet. And then keep your right arm down, bring your left arm down by your side. Just walk your feet in a little bit. And now bring your legs back to that parallel stance. So a little bit of a balance challenge now, not too challenging. We're just going to stand on one leg just for a moment. So let's start with the left leg and the right arm. So breathe in. As you breathe out, just float your left leg off the floor and reach your right arm forward in line with your shoulder. Without touching down, take the leg wide to the side and the arm wide to the side. Lift, keep the toes off the floor, put them down if you need to. Bring the right arm forwards again and sweep the left leg behind you. The left leg is still long, your toes are off the floor. And just hold that stance. Put your arm down and your foot down on the floor. Left arm reaches forward and your right leg lengthens and lifts off the floor. So just standing on one leg, toes just light on the floor if you need to. Take the arm, the leg wide to the side. Keep the toes off the floor if you can. And then reach the left arm forward as you sweep the right leg behind you. Leg is lifted, just softly pointing your toes. And just hold if you can. A little bit of softness in your left knee. So feel really strong in that standing leg. And then from there, put your foot back down. Roll your shoulders. You might just want to shake out both of your legs a little bit there as well. So we're going to come down. We're going to get that forward flexion in the spine again. So we've done this most weeks actually. So really good to get that mobility in the spine. Always remember to scoot your belly in, navel to spine. So really protecting your back. If you've got back issues, just bend your knees, soften into your knees, and maybe you don't want to go all the way down. Otherwise, shoulders back and down, stand nice and tall. Breathe in. As you breathe out, the chin just falls towards the chest, and then we start to round the spine. So starting with your shoulders, then the upper back, then the mid back, then the lower back. We're starting to really fold over. Hands on your thighs if you need support. Otherwise, just let your arms hang here like a rag doll, just making sure your neck is nice and loose. Breathe in as you breathe out. Use your abdominals. Pull the abdominals in. Slowly coming back up, so we're restacking one vertebrae at a time. Looking forwards. Let's go again. On your exhale, pulling the abdominals in. And coming slowly down to the top of your head, more or less be pointing towards the floor. As I said, big bend in the knees if you want to, if you really need to Protect your back if you've got back issues. Otherwise, legs are fairly straight, hips over your heels. Can we come back up again? And we're going to come down again. We're just going to stay down, just getting a little bit of a twist in the spine, just opening up into the side waist a little bit. So coming down, and when your fingertips get towards the floor, soften into your knees or bend your knees a lot if you need to. Fingertips light on the floor here. Breathe in as you breathe. Just walk your fingertips over to the right. So your fingertips are towards the right-hand side of your right foot, but your hips are still facing forwards. Breathe in as you walk your fingertips all the way back through centre, over to the other side, so your fingertips are towards the outside of your left foot. And then bring your fingertips back to that midline position. Bend your knees and walk out onto the mat. Come into your tabletop position. Drop your knees directly underneath your hips and make sure your wrists are directly underneath your shoulders. Pull the shoulder blades back and down, feel the length in your spine. So we're going to do our swimming on all fours. We've done this a few times now, so you might feel it gets a little bit easier. But if you need to, just work your legs only. And if you've got wrist issues at all, just pop down onto your forearms, elbows under your shoulders, so you can work the legs only. Otherwise, standing in your neutral tabletop position, strong your abdominals, breathe in. As you breathe out, just lengthen your right leg along the floor and then just lift it up so the leg is in line with your hip. Reach through your toes. Stay here if you can on your next exhale. Just slide your left fingertips along the floor and lift the left arm up so it's in line with your shoulder. And just breathe. Can you just hold this posture? Nice big deep breaths, hand on the floor if you need to. Just feel really strong and stable here. Put your hand under your shoulder, your knee under your hip. Let's go the other side. Exhale, lengthen the left leg and just lift it up. Reach through your toes. Keep everything else really square and balanced. And then if you can, on your next exhale, slide your right hand along the floor, lift the arm up in line with your shoulder and just hold your pose. So square across the shoulders and the hips, strong in the abdominals. Breathe into your upper body. Remember your lateral breathing. And then let's start going into our swimming. So right hand down, left knee down, and then opposite arm, opposite leg, left arm, left leg. Breathing in, hand under shoulder, knee under hip, then the other side. So nice and slowly, we're extending through the hip, then the shoulder, lengthening the arm and the leg, reaching through your fingertips and your toes. Keeping that balance all the time across your shoulders and your hips. Work with your breathing. Nice smooth transition, side to side. So don't rush. Just go nice and slowly. Let's keep going with that. Remember, legs only, or even maybe arms only, if you're feeling a little bit unstable today. So really good for our core strength. Our balance coordination as well, so quite a lot to think about. Keep going. Can we just do one more of those each side? Maybe just finding a little bit more length in the leg as you lift it. And last time, your left leg, right arm. So hopefully we've done the same amount each side. And then from there, just kneel, come to a kneeling position. Just sit on your heels or high kneel. Just roll your shoulders, circle your wrists, few circles in each direction. So now we're going to come to seated position. So we're going to do a spine twist, and lots of different options again for your spine twist today. So if you're a little bit tight in your lower back or your hamstrings or your hips, you can always sit on the front edge of a cushion or a Pilates or a yoga block. If you're comfortable with your feet, soles of the feet together, your knees can just fall wide to the side. So really nice position for legs. So we can just loosen up into the hips a little bit with our legs. They're like in a sort of diamond shape here. Or if that's not for you, you may just want to cross your legs or extend your legs long. If you can, soles of the feet together. Sit really nice and tall, so making sure that the shoulders are over the hips, the chest is lifted, but your ribs are pulling down towards the hips. So we're really got a really nice, strong seated posture here. So we're going to take the fingertips, a little bit different for a spine twist today. So I'm going to give you different options. Just have your elbows more or less in line with your shoulders. Fingertips, so your middle fingers, if they're your longest fingers, and most people's are, your middle fingers are just touching here. pull your shoulders away from the ears, strong in your abdominals. Breathe in. As you breathe it, just twisting from the waist. Let's rotate round to the left, upper body rotating as one unit. Breathing in, just coming back through center. Breathing out, going the other way. Keep your elbows lifted, don't let them drop towards the floor. Fingertips just lightly touching, so I'm going to build on this. So keep the nose in line with the fingertips here, making sure the weight stays even in both of your sit bones. Exhaling just away from the midline. So let's add in now, if you want a little bit more, we're going to exhale, we're going to twist to the left, we're going to lengthen your left arm and reach your left arm long behind you, just looking at your fingertips. And then coming back through center, bend the elbow, bring your fingertips back together again. Excellent, twist to the right, extend your right arm long behind you. Just follow your fingertips with your eyes. Bend the elbow, twist back through center, fingertips together. And go again, twist, lengthen your left arm. Reach to the wall behind you or towards the wall behind you. Back through center. Try not to let the opposite sit bone lift off the floor as you turn the other way. Keep the length in your neck. Keep the spine really long, like you're still lifting the top of the head up towards the ceiling. Well, this is the last repetition like this. We're going to build on this spine twist. If you want to, you can come stay here, or you can take a rest. Next option, reach your arms wide to the side and extend your legs long. Legs pinned together, just softly point your toes. Again, shoulders over hips, sit really nice and tall. Breathe in as you breathe out, keep the arms really long and wide. Let's twist to the left and back to center, and twist to the right. And back to center. So we're working through our shoulders, our arms, our chest, as well as getting that twist in the spine. So our arms are heavy, so the weight of our arms is going all the way across our shoulder girdle, so strengthening those muscles. Let's just add in some little pulses as an option. So just twist around to the left and do 2 or 3 little pulses. Just trying to get a little bit more twist in the spine. Twist, maybe 1, 2, 3 pulses, back to center, twist, 1, 2, 3, and go again. And last time, 1 more set if you can, twist, pulse, pulse, center, twist, and those little pulses. And then come back to center, lift your arms up towards the ceiling, relax your feet. As you breathe out, just fold over, bend your knees if you need to, just lower your chest, your arms, your head towards your legs, just relax your shoulders and your chest, and then slowly sit up nice and tall. So now we're going to add some flexion into the spine. I'm coming into core strength. So I'm going to combine a half roll back with a spine stretch forward. And I'm going to give you again different levels. So first of all, sit at the bottom end or towards the bottom end of your mat. So you've got the length of the mat behind you. Heels, knees and sit bones in alignment. Same position, same distance between your legs as one was standing. Again, starting off just sitting really nice and tall. Just take your hands behind your thighs and lift the chest. Breathe in. As you breathe out, pull the abdominals in, just tuck your tailbone under, just round the spine and just roll it off your pelvis, just coming onto your lower back. Breathe in. As you breathe out, slowly come back up, shoulders are right over your hips, restack your spine and sit really nice and tall at the top. So if you need to keep your hands here for support, keep them there, otherwise reach your arms forward, shoulder distance apart. Breathe in, exactly the same, exhaling, tucking under, rolling back. Breathe in. As you breathe out, maintain your C-curve, shoulders over your hips, then sit really nice and tall. This is where I'm going to add in the spine stretch forward. So put your palms of your hands on the floor by the side of your hips, so your fingertips are pointing towards the bottom end of the mat. Breathe in. As you breathe out, just let your chin fall towards your chest and slide your hands along the mat. Fingertips reaching towards the top end of the mat, or the bottom end of the mat, should I say, and your chest is coming towards your thighs. Just allow your chin to fall, just not on your chest, but towards your chest. Breathe in. As you breathe out, slide your hands back in and restack your spine. Sit really nice and tall at the top. Reach your arms forward. Breathe in as you blow. Let's do that roll back again. So really feel that C curve in your spine. Shoulders and chest wide and open. Breathe in as you breathe out. Use your abdominals, coming back up, bring them in. Sit really nice and tall. Hands on the mat by your sides. Breathe in as you breathe. That chin falls towards the chest. We slide the hands along the floor towards the bottom edge of the mat. Rounding the spine. Just let your chin come towards your chest. Breathe in. As you breathe out, slide the hands back in and restack your spine. One more like that. Arms reach forward, tuck and roll. You might feel you can go back a little bit further now. Getting a little bit warmer in our abdominals. Don't worry if you can't. Breathe in as you breathe out, coming back up nice and smoothly. Do not let your feet lift off the floor. Hands by your hips. Breathe in, breathe out. Let's come forwards again. Maybe you can reach a little bit further through your fingertips, getting a little bit more stretch in your back, in your lower back. Lovely stretch. And breathe in as you breathe out. Slide your hands back in and restack your spine. Let's build on that now. Extend your legs long, legs are pinned together. Reach your arms, so this is only an option. Keep your knees bent if you need to. Breathe in as you breathe out, tuck and roll. Just tucking under, roll off your pelvis. Just going onto your lower back. Breathe in. As you breathe out, use your abdominals, coming back up, sitting really nice and tall. So a little bit more challenging with long legs. Put your hands on the mat, down by your hips, fingertips facing forwards. Breathe in as you breathe out, exactly the same as we did with our bent legs. Just slide your fingertips towards the bottom end. Feel like you're lifting out of your hips as you fold over. A little bit of bend in the knees if you're really tight in the legs or the back or the hip flexors. Breathe in as you breathe out, slide your hands back in and restack your spine, sitting tall at the top. Arms forward, breathe in, rounding, imprint your spine. Maybe going back a little bit further, only if you feel you can. Do not let your heels lift off the floor. Breathe in as you breathe out, let's come back up. Sit nice and tall at the top, hands by your hips. Breathe in as you breathe out, let's slide the hands towards the bottom end of the mat. Maybe you can get your chest a little bit closer towards your thighs. Lovely stretching the legs into your lower back. Breathe in, breathe out. All the time your navel is glued to your spine, so that will protect your back or help protect your back. Arms reach forward. One more last time. Maybe even you might feel you can go a little bit further back, depending on your strength in your core to come back up again. That's the harder bit. Peel away. Coming up, restack your spine, sit really tall, hands by your hips, and let's go again. Do that spine stretch forward. So make sure you're rounding the spine. We're just bringing our chest as close to the sides as we can. Bend the knees if you need to. So lovely stretch. Let's slide the hands back in. And slowly restacking the spine, sit nice and tall at the top. Just take a little shoulder on there and maybe give your legs a little bit of a shake. So from there, we're going to come into a lying down position. So it's up to you. If you need to put your hands on the floor, keep your feet on the floor, and roll yourself down, do so. If you feel you can, nice and slowly and safely, lift your feet off the floor and very slowly rolling down. And then put your feet on the floor, try not to collapse. So we're finding a semi-supine position now, so making sure the heels, the knees and the hips are in alignment, same as when we're standing, same as when we're seated, hip distance apart. So if you want to here, just pop a little support behind your head, a cushion or a block or a folded up towel. So just making sure that your neck feels supported, so no tension in the back of the neck. So if not, just tuck your chin in very slightly. So from there, just making sure we find your neutral posture. So making sure that the lower back is lengthened on the floor. You've got that little space underneath your lower back, so you might just be able to slide a flat hand underneath your lower back there. So making sure the spine stays really safe. So strong in your abdominals now. So remember I said just gently make that connection when we were standing. Now really find a lot of strength in your core now. So really drawing the lower abdominals in. Or you might feel that you want to lift up your pelvic floor. As you lift up your pelvic floor, feel that area really tighten. So keeping that nice and strong. So that's going to keep your pelvis in neutral and your lower back nice and safe. So from there, just make sure your shoulders away from ears and your ribs are softened down towards the hips. Just turn your palms in to face your hips with your thumbs pointing up towards the ceiling. Big in breath. As you breathe out, just lengthen your left leg along the mat and scissor your right arm back towards the floor behind you. So straightening opposite arm and opposite leg. Slide the leg back in as your arm comes back down by your side. Then your right leg, so just keep the foot in contact with the floor, stretching the leg long, reach through your toes and your fingertips here. And breathe in, slowly bring the leg back in, exactly where it started from as the arm comes down by your side. So nice and slow, focus on that stability in your hips, your lower back, your pelvis. Nothing should be moving except the arm and the leg. So you might not want to fully extend the leg. If you feel that further the leg goes away from the hips, if you feel your back starts to arch off the mat, don't extend the leg fully. So work with your breathing, exhaling. As you breathe out, just maybe draw those abdominals in a little bit more to keep the lower back nice and still. And let's do one more with the right leg. We're going to stay with single legs, but we're going to make those a double arm reach. So two arms go back now, shoulder distance apart. There's your left leg straightens towards the bottom end of the mat. Arms up and over down by your sides as you bring the leg back in. So when you take your arms back, try not to let your rib cage pop up. So keep that with the ribs drawn down towards the hips. So you've got quite a lot to think about here. You're breathing into your upper body. Remember to breathe really deep into the base of your lungs, but breathe. It's like you're trying to breathe sideways into the sides and the back of the rib cage. And don't breathe into your belly, else you can't keep your abdominals pulled in. Shall we just maybe do one more of those each side? So we should be getting a little bit more warmth into our muscles now. So maybe everything's getting a little bit more free. It's getting a little bit easier as we work through this sequence. Arms down by your sides and bring your feet in. So from here, let's lift both of the feet off the floor one at a time. And then just bring your left knee in a little bit closer and just let your left hand rest lightly on top of your left knee and extend your right leg away. So your legs are still hip distance apart. Your right leg is stretching away, long out of your hip. You're trying to reach your toes towards the wall in front of your leg. So your leg may be fairly low towards the floor, or you might want to lift it a little bit higher if you feel again there's movement in your lower back. So from here, breathe in. As you breathe out, let's just switch. Bring the right leg in as you stretch your left leg away. On your next exhale, left knee in, right leg stretches away. Just go nice and slowly to start off with. And then we might, so I've got something behind my back, you might want to just go double time. So we're going exhale for 2 stretches and inhale for 2 stretches. Really feel like your leg going right out of your hip. Your next option, if you want to, just to lift your head and shoulders off the floor. Keep your elbows nice and wide, just gently tapping the incoming knee with the hands. Stretch and stretch. So this is our single leg stretch. So it's a very classic Pilates exercise. Keep that space in between your chin and your chest. So don't close that gap there. Just imagine you've got that little tangerine tucked underneath your chin. Keeping everything really strong and still. All that's moving your legs. And let's do 2 more each side if you feel you can. Rest if you need to. And then bring both of your knees in, lower your shoulders, your head back down on the mat. If you've had your head and shoulders off the floor, you might just want to gently turn your head from side to side, and then you can just rock from side to side with your lower back on the mat, just to release off into your lower back. So from there, we're going to go into a bicycle now. So I'm going to give you options. So getting some work through the legs now, into your hips as well. So we'll just start off at a really low level. So keep your knees and feet, knees and feet hip distance apart. And then just start to just do some little mini bicycle movements with your legs, as if you're just riding a bike. Just little baby bicycles here. Keep the lower back lengthened on the floor, keep the abdominals nice and strong. And then let's just start to make these movements a little bit bigger. So if you can, extend one straight leg right up towards the lower, down towards the floor as the other knee comes in. Press the leg down towards the floor. So stretching out of your hip as the other knee comes in towards your chest. So really feel the legs working here. Breathe, maybe your lateral breathing. So you can still keep with the baby bicycles if this is too much for you. I'm going to give you some options now. Float your arms off the mat, hip height, reaching through your fingertips. Lift your head and shoulders off the mat. That's your next option. Keep the legs going. Really get as much movement into your legs, into your hips as well. And then if that's a little bit challenging with your arms there, just cradle the back of your head in your hands. Just support the back of your head in your hands. You're just interlacing your fingers. And just the base of your skull is just resting in your hands. Stretch those legs away. Keeping your upper body completely still. Head and shoulders down if you need to. So really working our legs. Riding that bicycle. And let's do 4 more each side. And last set. And then bend your knees, head and shoulders down. If you have them lifted, hug your knees in nice and close, hands on top of your knees. Watch your backs here, but as long as you don't have back issues, just bring your knees in nice and close towards your chest. So feel your tailbone curling under, just peel your lower back off the floor. And then just push your knees away, lengthening your lower back on the floor and go again. So just encouraging a little bit more length in the lower back. Exhaling, pull the knees in. And inhale, just push them away. Maybe a couple more times like that. So just allowing the lower back just to free up a little bit. And then put your feet back down on the floor one at a time. So we're going to do some bridge work today. Most of the bridges I've done with you in this session, we've articulated the spine coming up. So I just thought we'd do it a little bit differently today. So if you're coming to work in your bridge, make sure you don't have anything behind your head. So the back of your head needs to be resting on the floor or on your mat, should I say. So finding that same neutral position for your spine. Same position for your legs, knees and feet hip distance apart, but walk your heels in nice and close towards your sit bones, just like we would do for our articulated bridge. I'll just show you what we're going to do. So what we would normally do, or often do for our bridges, we would peel the spine away from the mat, squeeze and glutes, and lifting the hips up towards the ceiling. But what we're going to do today is we're going to keep the spine completely still. And we're just going to use the glutes and press into your feet. We're just going to lift the back off the floor and then lower it back down again. So we lift in one piece and we lower in one piece. So you can press into your feet, but make sure you're really focusing the work into your glutes and your core. So we just exhale to lift and inhale to lower back down again. So try not to rely on your arms too much. So work the back rather than pressing into your arms to get that lift, but use your arms for stability. So when you're ready, breathe in. As you breathe out, we're going to lift up. So your spine lifts in one piece off the mat and breathe in, lower it back down again and go again. Squeeze really strong in your glutes. So really good glute strengthening exercise. We're going to do 10. So that's 2. That's number 3. Lightly touching down with hips. 4. So when you come up, your hips stay level. Try not to hyperextend, so try not to let your rib cage pop up. 5, so 5 more to go. Press into your feet if you need to. 4 more. So just like a gentle thrust of the hips up, a gentle thrust, nice movements. 2 more like that. And you can stay with this if you want to, or if you need to, or just hug your knees in towards your chest if you want to take a break. So a little bit more of a challenge now. Can we lift up into a bridge and stay here? Really strong in that bridge. Press into your feet, use your arms and your shoulders for support if you need to. Breathe in, just allow your hips to go halfway to the floor and exhale, lift up again. So not letting your hips rest. Inhale, halfway down, exhale, lift up. Halfway down, squeeze and lift. And keep going. And you can take your hips all the way down if you need to. Just going to do 5 more. Inhale, exhale, lift. Squeeze. 3 more to go. 2 more. And last time, squeeze and lift and just stay here. Press into your feet, squeeze your bottom really tight. Keep really still in this strong bridge. Breathe. And then lower your spine all the way down onto the mat. If you feel your heels have walked away, walk them in again a little bit. We'll just do an articulated bridge just to loosen off the spine to finish. So breathe in. As you breathe out, tuck your tailbone under, flatten your lower back into the mat, engage your glutes still, and now we're going to peel the spine away from the mat, 1 vertebrae at a time this time, opening up the hips, lifting nice and high. Can you stay here? Float your arms up towards the ceiling, float your arms towards the floor behind you, maybe all the way behind you if you can, so the backs of your hands, arms are resting on the floor. Breathe in, keep your arms where they are unless that's uncomfortable in your shoulders. Let's imprint the spine 1 vertebrae at a time as you come out of your bridge. Your lower back settles on the floor. Then slide your right heel along the floor, slide your left heel along the floor, and take another of those lovely full body stretches. See how long we can be in our stretch. Bring your arms up towards the ceiling. Bring your arms back down on the mat, down by your sides. 1 at a time, slide your feet in. Let's just loosen off the hips now in our hip rolls. So head back on a block if you want to, or cushion if you want a little bit of support for your head and your neck. Lying with your knees bent. This time our legs aren't hip distance apart. Our knees are pinned together and so are our feet. So your 2 legs become 1 big leg here. Inside of your knees glued together, ankle bones glued together. Let's take the arms wide to the side and turn your palms up to face the ceiling. Try and have your arms a little bit lower than shoulder height, otherwise our shoulders tend to creep up towards your ears. So we want to keep that wideness, openness across the chest and the shoulders with our shoulder blades down. So from here, try and keep your lower back lengthened on the mat as best as you can when we're in this starting position. And focus on your breathing. So we're reversing the breathing a little bit. So on your next in-breath, let your knees drop over to the left and just gently turn your head to the right. But don't let your right shoulder lift off the floor. As you breathe out, we're going to pull the knees back through center. Feet flat on the floor. Breathing in, your knees go to the right. Just gently turn your head to the left. And breathe out. So really feel like you're using your waist muscles. And then go the other way. So just keeping the neck nice and long, just gently turning the head. So just getting a little bit of mobility into your neck. So we're really twisting through the spine, rolling the hips from side to side. Let's build only if you want to. Keep your feet flat on the floor if that's your choice. If you want to work a little bit harder, 1 at a time. Lift your feet off the floor, pin your knees and your ankles together again. Legs in tabletop. Let's go again, trying to keep the heels in line with your knees. Trying to keep that angle behind the knees the same all the time. Again, working through your waist. Don't rush. Work with your breath. And your abdominals really strong here. And let's just do 1 more of those each side. Feet on the floor anytime you need. Just some of you might want a further challenge. Be careful with your backs here. Next time your knees are up towards the ceiling, extend your legs long, toes to ceiling, legs directly over your hips. Keep your legs pinned together. Do your side to side. So legs go to one side, keeping them pinned together. Head turns the other way. Legs over your hips, eyes to ceiling. and go the other way, side to side. So you might want to reduce that range of motion. So you might just want to take your legs a little bit over to one side and back in. Again, depending on your core strength, stability, the mobility. So remember, we're all different. You might just want to keep your feet on the floor all the time. You'll still get lots of benefits from your hip rolls with your feet on the floor. And let's do one more each side, whichever level you're doing. And last time, legs to the right, just gently turn your head to the left, legs back up, over your hips. Now bend your knees, hands on your knees, pull your knees in, again just give them a little bit of a hug. And then take your hands behind your thighs, open your knees and your feet really wide here, knees in towards your chest, but your knees are wider than your chest. So really feel that stretch in your inner thighs, opening into your hips. Remember, if anything feels uncomfortable, don't do it. Then from there, can you just extend your legs long over your hips so they're a big wide V shape even. I'll get my words out. And then just open your legs a little bit wide. So really encouraging that stretch in your inner thighs. Again, bend your knees if that's really uncomfortable. Then, if you can, just put your hands on the mat by the side of your hips. Just flex your feet, push your heels up towards the ceiling. Really getting a really good stretch into the back of the legs, into your calves, your hamstrings, and your inner thighs here. So a really nice stretch. Then just point your toes. And flex your feet again. And point your toes one more time. So really nice stretches for the legs here. Point your toes, keep your toes softly pointed, and then we're going to circle the ankles, just round and round in one day, so just freeing up those ankle joints, and then take the circles around the other way, so really nice mobility exercise for your ankles. Now bend your knees, and then bring your knees in towards each other. Again, just give both of your legs a little bit of a hug. Take your hands on top of your left knee, put your right foot on the floor, and then just give that knee a really good hug. And then take your left ankle just above your right knee. So your left ankle bone resting just above your right knee. And then from there, just push your left knee wide to the side. Flex your left foot. Lift your right foot off the floor. Just reach your hands through behind your right thigh. If you want to, you can keep your right foot on the floor, otherwise the right foot lifts, and just pulling that knee a little bit closer in towards your chest. And then from there, we can even extend that right leg up towards the ceiling, just to get a further stretch into our hamstrings. So the aim here is to get a really nice stretch into the side of the hip and the glute. So keep pushing that left knee wide to the side. Again, any discomfort, just stop. Bend your right knee, right foot on the floor, left foot on the floor next to your right foot. Let's hug the right knee in towards the chest. Nice big hug. Cross your right ankle just above your left knee. Push your right knee wide to the side. Flex your right foot. Stay here, if that's enough of a stretch for you. Or lift your left foot off the floor. Reach your hands through behind your left thigh, so we can just pull that left knee in a little bit closer. Keep pressing that right knee wide. So you feel that in the side of your glute into your hip. So a really nice stretch. That other option, if you just want that a little bit more, just extend your leg, toes point up towards the ceiling. And then just bend your left knee. If you extended it, left foot on the floor, and then put both of your feet on the floor. Slide your legs away again. Take another stretch there, stretching to opposite ends of the room. Take a lovely deep breath there. Then bring your arms up and over, down by your sides. Just slide your heels in, take the soles of your feet together, and just let your knees drop wide to the side with your feet together, like we did for our spine twist, but just relax your legs. You might just want to bounce your knees up and down, just very gently. So just opening up, loosening up into the hips a little bit there. Pull your knees in towards each other, one at a time. Bring your knees in towards your chest. We're going to roll up to seated, but if you need to, just push yourself onto your side and push yourself up. Otherwise, come up nice and smoothly. Roll yourself up to that seated position. And let's just sit with our legs crossed. So nice and simple. If that's not for you, just extend your legs long. Chest lifted, shoulders back and down, tummy's pulled in. Just pop your fingertips on the floor, down by your sides. Breathe in. As you breathe out, let's take a side bend. So stretch your legs and the hips quite a lot. Just do some upper body stretches. Other side. Just feel like you're trying to pull your ribs away from it without lifting your sit bone off the floor. Really nice stretch. Arm down by. So just lift your arms up towards the ceiling. And circle your arms wide to the side and behind you. Just leaning back, lift your chest. Push your chest forwards and upwards and up towards the ceiling. Pull your shoulder blades in and down. So really opening up the shoulders and the front of the chest. And then walk your hands towards the side of your hips. Just reach your arms long in front of you, interlace your fingers, turn your hands inside out, so you're pushing your palms of your hands forward. Feel that lovely stretch across your shoulders and into your back. Breathe in, let's float the arms up towards the ceiling. Stretch, try and get your hands on the ceiling. Lift up out of your hips, your waist, your shoulder. Really, really good stretch. Let your fingers go and very slowly pull your arms down towards the floor by the side of your hips. Uncross your legs, probably a good idea. Give your legs a little bit of shape. Just roll your shoulders. And well done, that's another Tuesday lunchtime. The week's fly by. Have a lovely day.